god. Pick them up, pick them up, pick them up. Yes! That is Christmas dinner sorted. Hello again. So it's been a couple of days since I sent my last Vlogmas, and I haven't given up, I haven't stopped filming, I just haven't been filming a lot, and that's been because we haven't been doing a lot, and it's been really nice. So I thought, instead of sending 3 little videos that maybe consisted of like 2 clips, I'd send one video that could at least be a minute long, and it would just have an update from the last few days in it instead. I think the last video I sent was filling you in on what we got up to on Thursday of last week. I can't actually remember what we did. Yeah, we went to the Weta Studios, which was good fun. I did enjoy Thursday. And then we had Friday, Saturday, and today being Sunday of just chilling. Friday and Saturday we did at least do something in the day. Today is an absolute no plan day. I'm currently home alone. Sam's taken himself off on a little adventure because he simply can't do nothing. That's not in his DNA. I'm getting little updates from him as we speak. We went to the museum on... I'm getting all my days confused, but we went to the museum a couple of days ago, and essentially when you buy a ticket, it gives you 48-hour access. So he's also going to take himself off to the museum again, but not just to walk around it by himself. It's because they've got a big viewing terrace where you get a really lovely view of Wellington. And when we went to the museum, the weather was disgusting and it was pouring with rain, so we didn't really utilise the terrace, whereas he's going to go back, take himself out on the terrace and take a few nice photos. So Sam's having a nice day, I'm having a nice day, we're both just not with each other. I'm also going to try and keep this video as concise as possible, but as you can probably see, I have no idea what I'm saying. I've already forgotten the last 2 days worth of things, which isn't very helpful when I'm trying to do an update, so it'll be a bit all over the place, but I'll try my best to remember in a logical order what we have done so I can update you all. So starting with Friday, it was a miserable day in Wellington. The last few days have been really hit and miss with the weather. The sun has crept out once or twice, but it's mainly just been overcast and also rainy. So we woke up to miserable weather on Friday, which meant that we were just taking it slow in the morning. We weren't in a rush to get out, and it's been really nice actually just to make the most of slow mornings. So when we eventually made it out in the morning, we walked to the museum, and it was a wet and windy walk because the weather still hadn't cleared up. But that was okay because we knew that once we were in the museum we were probably going to be there for most of the day anyway. The museum is called Te Papa and it is absolutely huge. It rightfully has the name Museum of New Zealand. It must be the biggest one in this country. It is just colossal. There is so much to explore, and there was actually quite a few sections of it that were shut or under refurb, and even with that we spent the majority of the day just walking around it. We had actually already been here when we last came out to Wellington, but despite that it was still a really interesting fun day. There are obviously parts of the museum that have since been updated that we hadn't seen yet, and even the parts that we had seen, it was over 6 years ago now, so it's just nice to see it again. One of the things they had there, which they definitely didn't have the last time we went, was a massive exhibition just for the Gallipoli War, which was really interesting. It was obviously very heavy and very sad, but I personally hadn't heard of that part of the war before. It's very much a New Zealand and Australia focused part of history, but it was during the Second World War and England were very much involved. It's just not the part of the war that I think our education system sort of focuses on, so it was really interesting to learn what had gone on and hear about the war from the Southern Hemisphere's point of view. It was a very intense exhibition, and it had been done really well. It's weird to say that I really enjoyed it because obviously the subject of it is incredibly heavy and incredibly sad, but the way that it had been done in the museum kept you reading and kept you involved in it, which is quite tricky to do when you're learning about something like that. There were maybe 6 or 7 sections of the exhibit, and each bit focused on a different time period of that war, and focused on maybe like 2 or 3 case studies as well, so that you got to learn about an individual and their story in the war. And just before you entered that part of the exhibit, there was a giant sculpture of that person, sort of in a freeze frame of the war setting. These sculptures were honestly like nothing I've ever seen before. They were insane and so unbelievably lifelike, and they had all been designed and made at the Weta Workshop, which is the place that we were the day before. Each sculpture was of a real life person that was in the war that you were then going to walk into the room and learn about their stories. So it was a really, really powerful way to learn. It was quite a heavy exhibition, and it was the last one we did, which maybe wasn't the best idea, because we did leave the museum feeling a little bit heavy, but it was really, really interesting, and I'm really glad that we did go and do it. That then brings us on to Saturday, which was in fact yesterday. So I have absolutely zero excuses for forgetting what we did, but believe me, I have already forgot what we did. I've just reminded myself by looking back through my phone, but again, it was another slow start to the morning. We didn't head out until maybe 11 o'clock-ish, and we headed straight to a crazy golf place called Welly Putt. We'd actually been recommended this place by a couple that we were on the Weta tour with, who had only been in Wellington for like 24 hours, and they'd already managed to go and play mini golf, and they said that it was really good fun, so we decided to trust them and booked ourselves a couple of tickets. It was a really cute and unassuming mini golf place that was quite tucked away. There is another one in the city centre that has like bright neon lights and arrows and all sorts, whereas this one is just a tiny little sort of, you walk in, go straight up some stairs, and you feel like you're in just someone's like basement project. It feels very homemade, but in an endearing way, not in a scary way. The whole course is based around Wellington, which was really sweet because they had to get quite imaginative with some of the holes. It was really good fun, and we both really enjoyed ourselves. One of the holes, you didn't even use your golf club at all. It was actually just a catapult that you would use, which looked like good fun until you tried it, and then you realised it's actually a lot harder than it looks. So after a few failed attempts, I ended up just resorting to throwing the golf ball, which some could say is cheating, but I just like to think of it as thinking outside of the box. And there were lots of other holes in the course that were like interactive, so it was good fun, and we both really enjoyed ourselves. I think I enjoyed myself slightly more just because I ended up winning, but it was a really nice way to start the morning. Sam had booked us a reservation at a really nice place for lunch, but by the time we finished golf it was still a little bit early to go there, so we made a detour via a local brewery and tried a couple of their drinks first, and then by the time we drank those in the sun, it was time to eat some lunch. So there's a bit of a theme happening where we are doing maybe one or two things and then chilling for the rest of the day. Today I haven't even managed to get the one or two things in. I have just chilled for the whole day, but that has been entirely through choice. Usually I wouldn't enjoy chill days. I'd feel guilt that I had to go out and do something, but our calendar is just so full for the next few weeks, basically until we're back in the UK, that I know in that time I'm going to crave just a day of nothing. So I'm making the most of it whilst I can, to sort of conserve all my energy so that I can give the South Island all that I've got, and not miss a single experience whilst we're out there. So I have just incredibly last minute, in an attempt to do something with my day, got changed into my running stuff, and I was going to meet Sam on the waterfront, and sort of just like run up to him and meet him halfway, but I don't think that's going to go to plan, because I think by the time I get to the waterfront he'll have left. I have got spectacularly lost on the way to the harbour and taken the most zigzag crazy route that you could possibly take, which means I've only just arrived, and I've just checked where Sam is. He's honestly like less than a minute away from me, so this is going to be the shortest run in history. By the time I start running I will probably be able to see him, and then I'll stop running again and come straight home. So this has been a very pathetic run indeed, but it got me at the house. This run just wasn't meant to be. It keeps going from bad to worse. So I've just got to the harbour and I thought, right, I'll check Sam's location one more time so I know what direction I'm running in. And he went a different way, so he's no longer on the harbour, and we've started walking away from each other again. So I've just let him know. To be fair, I didn't tell him what I was doing at all, so it's not like he's done it on purpose, but I've just let him know where I'm going to run to, and he said that he's going to walk there now. So note to self in the future, tell Sam what your plan is, because otherwise he'll just go walkabout. There he is. Absolute shortest run in all human history. I did exactly 1 kilometre, which, despite the wind, It's very muggy, so that was enough to make me sweat. So I feel like I have exercised, which is good.